So basically, just honor your own body and do what feels good. And this is the liability release for love yoga. So you are doing yoga at your own risk. Hi there, this is Tara with Love Yoga, and I'm going to teach a grounded prenatal yoga flow. Yoga is a way to connect to ourselves, not just our physical body, but also our mind, our emotions, our breath, and then even our heart center. And so with prenatal yoga, I like to emphasize this because I feel like the physical postures can be the main emphasis of yoga. And this class in particular is going to move a little bit slower, and we're going to be doing mostly grounded postures, starting with a breathing exercise and connecting our body, our heart with our baby. And there is also a more stronger flow class if you'd like to try that in the future. So go ahead and join me on your yoga mat, and we're going to start in a restorative posture. You can start seated if that's comfortable for you. So just know that if you're seated, you can be in a chair, you can be cross-legged. I'm going to take a bolster, which this could also be a pillow, and 2 yoga blocks, which anything that can basically make a wedge type shape so that you can then put something on top and have a incline. And the reason is because we mostly want to be sitting a little more upright. We don't want to be laying on our backs unless it's your first trimester. If it's your first trimester, you can definitely lay down flat. So I'm going to get comfortable, and I'm going to start with my knees knocked towards one another and my feet mat width distance apart. Now, I'm in my 3rd trimester. I'm actually a week away from my due date right now. So I do notice that I have a little extra tension in my sacrum, and I'm going to roll up this to cushion a little bit more. You might not need that, but knocking the knees together, having that little bit of support on my sacrum feels nice, and my feet are out wide. Now, what this is doing is it's allowing the pelvic floor to open more, like the diamond presses outward. Where if our knees come wide and the soles of the feet come together, we would always want to use some sort of like blocks or support here. It will taper that diamond inward a little bit more. So it's good to practice more this constructed rest sometimes, because we do a lot of hip and opening in yoga postures already. When you get comfortable, we're going to take one hand to the belly and one hand up to the heart, close down the eyes. And just take some breaths in and out. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Almost through pursed lips, as though you're blowing out a candle. And the reason we're doing that is to relax the jaw. Lengthen the exhales. And as you're breathing here, we're going to start to breathe into the belly and allow the breath to rise up into the ribs and then the chest. And then as you exhale, release your chest, ribs to belly. And you can start to breathe out through your nose now. You may feel this ripple effect like an ocean wave as you're breathing in from your belly, pressing back and out into your ribs and then up into your chest. The wave rises and then the wave retreats back into the ocean as you exhale. So just nice and smooth and steady. And I want to emphasize that as you're breathing into the ribs, you're trying to push back and out. And so you're trying to get into the back part of your lungs. We start to lose space in the front when we're pregnant. So breathing into the back body helps to engage more of the lungs, and it also helps to activate your diaphragm. We're able to incorporate the diaphragmatic breathing. It helps us to also subtly engage the pelvic floor, as well as activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is more the rest and digest response. And I'll stop talking as you continue to breathe. And I want you just to connect your belly and your baby and your womb up to your heart space. And then send love back from your heart down to your baby. And just feel that connection. Perhaps there's even a message that you feel like your baby is sending to you, or a message you'd like to send to your baby. Take your last 2 breaths here. But we'll try to keep with us that full breathing, complete breathing from the belly up into the chest as we move through postures. We'll go ahead and release the knees and just gently rock them side to side. Whatever feels good here. Releasing any tension. And then we'll just roll to one side. So very gently. I'm going to place the bolster out of the way for now, and the blocks towards the top of the mat. So we will use those. And we'll start with, I'm going to use, you can have a towel or a blanket here, but I'm going to actually sit on it so that my hips are just a little bit higher than my knees, crisscross the legs if that's comfortable. And we're going to start with just some basic inhale, pressing the chest forward and the shoulders back, and exhale, rounding, scooping the belly. So it's kind of like seated cat-cows. You're rocking your pelvis as well. Then the next time we come forward, we're going to roll over to the left and back, and then to the right and forward. So these big butterfly rolls. Good, and we'll switch directions. The next time you come forward, take an inhale, then exhale, roll to the left or to the right and back, and then to the left and forward. Nice. We're going to keep that subtle swirl flowing up to the neck, dipping the chin down, rolling your ear towards your right shoulder. And then chin comes down through center, rolling your ear towards your left shoulder. And then side to side, you may gently take your hand to your head or hand behind the head, pressing your elbow back. Other side. And then a gentle massage of your neck and shoulders, giving yourself a little bit of love, a little gratitude for carrying your baby up into the occipital, which is that where the neck kind of meets the skull, and then down to the jaw. So we get a lot of tension in the jaw. You can even open your jaw, rock it side to side, start up at the temples and work your way down. Good, and then we'll look over to the right and up to the sky and to the left and down. So doing these nice big circles, opening the mouth, and then exhaling as you round around and down. And then switching, inhaling to the left and up, and exhale to the right and down. Good, and we'll shake out the arms. Inhale, sweep them up overhead. And then exhale, bring the right hand down, left arm overhead. We'll inhale to ceiling, and then exhale, left hand down, right arm overhead. Inhale, reaching tall, and then exhale, cactus the arms, squeezing shoulder blades together. Bring the hands behind to clasp, hold the knuckles down, keeping a slight bend though in the elbows. I'm puffing the chest up. Take a breath or two here. And then we'll go ahead and keep the left knee bent, straighten the right leg. And we're going to square off towards that right leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reaching tall. Exhale, taking a forward fold. And you may just come down a little ways. You may grab a block, put it on whatever height makes sense, maybe both blocks. And you're breathing into your hamstring, into the lower back. And then we'll root down into the sit bones. Inhale, sweep the arms up and take a subtle twist over to the left. So belly button is going to be facing forward still. Looking over that shoulder, lengthening as you inhale. Exhaling, softening as you gaze over the shoulder for that slight twist. Belly button like a flashlight towards the front. And then keeping that alignment, the block is going to be inside the leg. You can just place your arm on the block, sweep your arm overhead for a side body stretch. Inhale, reaching up through the fingers. Exhale, softening the arm, letting it rainbow overhead, pressing down into the left sit bones. Beautiful. And then we'll inhale, coming back up through center. And before we switch to the other side, let's bring the soles of the feet together to touch. And the closer your heels are to your pelvis, the tighter it's going to feel. You can come into more Tadasana, which is the star pose, and take a forward fold here. And I like to create some movement. So circular movement's always good in the hips, the pelvis area. And you can kind of feel those nooks and crannies in the outer hips and decide where maybe it feels sticky, maybe stay there for a minute. And then go to the other side, stretching into those outer hips. And then we'll come back up, straightening left leg, bending the right knee. you don't have blocks, you can use books or anything else that can be supportive here. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, reaching forward and down. And taking a few breaths. And then we'll root down into the sit bones. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky. Gentle twist over to the right. Again, belly button stays facing forward. Inhale to lift and lengthen, and exhale, gentle twist. And then pressing your arm down onto the block, sweeping right arm overhead. Inhaling from your sit bone all the way up through the fingertips. Exhaling from your fingertips down to the sit bones. Pressing into the sit bones, reaching tall up to the sky. And then taking both of your fingertips down and both of your legs wide. So coming into more of a wide-legged forward fold here. So I'm going to use my blocks. You could also take the bolster, show how to do that for support too. Especially if you're further along and your belly's feeling kind of big, you might want to use the bolster for support here. Reaching tall as you inhale, and exhale, folding forward and down. And breathing into inner thighs and hips. If you're feeling some SI pain, some of these wide-legged poses may aggravate it. So may not want to engage in these wide-legged poses if you're feeling the sciatica. I do recommend, though, chiropractic work and pelvic floor physical therapy in preparation for birth, but then also just if you do have any of those pesky little problems that are aggravating you, you can get yourself into alignment, kind of fix them, and not have to deal with them as much. Great. Coming back up through center. Again, putting the bolster off to the side. Bring the hands behind you and knees over the ankles. Press into the feet, press into your hands. Inhale, lift the hips high, coming into a reverse tabletop. Show you from the side here. My fingertips are facing out so I can scrub the shoulders towards one another. Press into the hands and feet, draw inner thighs together. And then pressing the knees forward, and reaching the head back. Taking a few breaths here, opening the chest. One more breath in, and exhale, hips come down. I'm going to keep my blanket underneath my knees. I like to pad, especially with the hard floor. And then stack shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, coming into a tabletop shape. Now, we're going to start with some basic cat-cows. So as you inhale, you'll drop the belly, bring your gaze forward. As you exhale, press down, round your spine, touch into chest. And do this a few times. So basic pelvic tilts. Remembering to activate the breath. Inhaling as you drop and stretch your belly. Exhaling as you round, drawing your baby up and in towards you. And we want to take some organic circles. So circling the hips, circling the head and neck in both directions. Good. We'll come and sit back onto the heels for a moment. Spread the toes out. You're going to start to feel a stretch in your arches, the soles of your feet, the toes, called fire toes for a reason. And we're breathing into the sensation. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through pursed lips. Not trying to avoid the sensation, just allowing ourselves to ride it out. Stretching the feet. Our feet can start to collapse a little bit in pregnancy, especially as we carry more weight. And so stretching into the feet is helpful, as well as just learning to breathe into the sensation rather than resisting it. You got this. I'll just take 3 more breaths here. Good. Rocking forward onto the hands and gently tapping your feet out, circling the ankles. Nice work. Okay, so from here, we're going to just take that right foot back, lengthening the leg, press into the heel to stretch your calf. Then we'll rock forward, back over the wrist, bend the knee, kick your heel up towards the sky. And we're going to just bring the knee down and then around and then the heel back up. So some big hip circles here. We'll do 3 this way. And then 3 the other way. Just allowing a little lubrication in the hip. Good. Then straighten the leg. Kick your heel towards the back wall and even out the hips. From here, keep the right hand planted, lift the left arm forward. You can keep the fingertips on the ground or reach forward as you kick back. Gentle core engagement. One more breath in, reach and kick, and then exhale, hand and knee come down. Take a cat-cow or 2. Good, and then we'll go to the other side. So bringing the left foot back, pressing into the heel, straight leg. And then we'll bend that knee and take the hip circles. So this series has been very helpful during my pregnancy to just realign my hips and pelvis. Good. Opposite direction. There's times that I actually get like a little crack out of my sacrum. We'll kick that heel back. Oh, it just happened right now. Even out the hips and reach that right arm forward a little bit or all the way. So you can really realign everything just by doing some symmetrical movements in yoga. One more breath in and then out. Nice work. From here, we'll go ahead and walk the fingertips forward. Puff up the spine, take an inhale. Exhale, release the head down between the arms. And this is where you could have a block to place your head on, pillow. Maybe your head actually touches the mat. No need to strain or stress it though. And again, sometimes the puffing and rounding and then the rinsing of the shoulders can feel good. You may have to take your knees wider if your belly is getting bigger. The general rule of thumb, knees or legs wider to accommodate the belly. Whether we're standing, Child's pose, kneeling. Good, and then we'll come back up through center, and I'm gonna take your left leg forward. So often we start with the right. It's okay to start with the left. We're going to come into this low lunge, and you can have blocks here for support on any height. We'll use them in just a moment. We're going to start by pressing into your foot, pressing into your knee, and then pulling your heel back and your knee forward. So have this like co-contraction. You're going to feel the engagement of your legs, your hip flexors. And then from there, a gentle tuck of the pelvis under. So we don't want to ever be like sticking the booty out, tucking it under. Inhale the arms up overhead. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, cactus the arms. Keep the arms flowing down and around, and inhale, reach forward and up. Good. And then hands come down. I'm going to bring mine to a blocks and then shift the hips back, straightening the front leg. So coming into half splits. And here I'm just moving my toes up and down, getting little mobility in the ankle, then moving my toes side to side, which good for ankle mobility, but it also starts to help you get into your IT band, especially as the pinky toes go down. Breathing a few times here. Coming back through center. Then we're going to rock forward and back a few times. And then coming back up, I'm going to take my toes and spin them behind and take a few side lunges here. And just breathing in as I bend. Good. And I'll come back around through center, toe heel my foot out to the side, me into a runner's lunge. Elbows come down, and you can be on blocks of any height. You could even lift your back leg, but it takes a little more strength. So I recommend keeping the knee down. You could also be right here. You don't even have to be on the elbows. And then we're going to just toe heel over to the side, bringing the knee down, and the heel is tucked in. And I'm going to use my bolster or a pillow again. Again, you could put a block underneath it. And I'm coming into half pigeon. So it's going to stretch this left outer hip. And if this is not comfortable for you, what I would recommend is coming onto your back instead. It's okay to be on your back a little bit. And then figure 4, your legs. Heel is over your knee. Or this can also be done seated. So you could be sitting cross and just gently rock. So either way, you're going to get this nice stretch in the outer hip. You'll slowly start to make your way back up towards hands and knees. So however you want to get there. Hands and knees, tabletop, coming into some cat-cows. May even want to come into a downward dog, tipping the sit bones up to the sky, keeping knees bent, pedaling out one heel and then the other. Back down through, hands and knees, bringing this time the right foot forward. And I'm going to actually turn the opposite direction, but you don't have to. Just as a little more visible. Again, pressing into your foot and your knee, arms reaching up overhead. And then scooting the heel back and the knee forward. And then we'll reach tall and exhale, bend the elbows and keep the arms moving down and around. Just getting some mobility into the shoulders, really trying to open up the chest. Everything's pulling us forward, so it's normal to have a rounded kind of back and chest. Then reaching arms up, hands come down, shifting hips back, and I'm kind of wiggling my hips so that they're right over my knee and pointing forward and back, and then rolling side to side. Good. And then rocking forward and back a few times. The next time you come forward into the bend of your knees, spin your back foot behind you like a kickstand and rise up so that you're in this side lunge. We're just gonna press the knee to the side and come back over our knee. So gentle rocking, opening up the inner thighs and hips. And then coming back around, bringing the blocks inside your feet, toe heeling the right foot out to the side, and staying on your hands or starting to wiggle your way down into the runner's lunge. Careful to keep the sacrum level. So whatever that means, but we don't want to dip down. So it's not necessary to go that low if the sacrum starts to tilt. So keeping the integrity here, releasing tension in the jaw. And then starting to toe heel that right foot over to the left and bringing the knee down. And so again, you could have that bolster or a pillow or some sort of support so that you can come into half pigeon. Or you can do this seated or lying down in the figure 4 shape. So you choose what works for you. Obviously, if you're lying, we're not pressing on the belly. So making sure you have it sort of cradled right there. It's more hovering. Otherwise, heel over knee, gentle rocking. When you're starting to feel even on this side to the other side, we're going to start to make our way into Shavasana. But before we do, we're going to do a bridge pose on the way down. So I like to keep the blanket underneath my sacrum and also use something between the legs like a block or a pillow and squeeze the thighs together. And then knees are over ankles. Press your feet into the mat and then inhale, lift the hips, squeeze the block. So you have that adduction going on. And you can take your arms and you could actually bring them overhead if you want some shoulder stretch, or you could bring your hands underneath, walk the shoulders under, which will puff up a little more, or you can take your hands to your hips to press them higher. This is a little harder now that my belly's gotten bigger, so I'm not sure I would recommend it. Coming down. And then there's multiple ways to find Shavasana. So you can come back into the pose that we did in the beginning, so that inclined bolster, or you could side lie. Again, you'll need some sort of support like a bolster. I like to do this on my left side, just better for digestion and blood flow. This could be a pillow or a blanket, and you just bring this bolster or maybe 2 pillows so that it's has a good height to it, parallel to your leg. Arm comes out and your knee lifts up at a 90-degree angle. So hip to knee, and then bend, and then you lie. And you may even choose to like fold this up a little so it's more like elevated as a pillow. And you're just going to relax, relaxing your toes, your feet, your legs, your hips, your back, your belly, your chest and shoulders, your arms and hands to fingers. And then back on up your arms towards your neck and your head, and releasing your mind, the thoughts that may be circulating. I invite you to stay here as long as you can. Rest is very important while we're pregnant. So you feel called to stay here for 5 minutes, 10 to 20. Just do whatever feels good. When you eventually make your way back up towards your seated position, you'll just simply take a few breaths the same way we started, letting the breath rise from your belly up into your ribs and your chest. You can even do that while you're lying down, connecting your baby to your heart, and then sending love from your heart to your baby. And thank you for taking this time to connect today with yourself, with your baby, and through yoga. The light and love in me honors the very same in each of you. I wish you a healthy and happy pregnancy. Namaste.